Um, hey, Allison, it's really great to see you. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm great. How
Oh
are
my gosh,
you?
it's really awesome to be on podcast again with you, like we've been doing every week for a while.
Yeah,
And but I kind of have the giggles, so I need to say something before we start. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
My name is Chris King, and I'm a licensed therapist. And today I'm stuck in my head. Hmm.
Play the music.
That was
I
pretty
really
good.
do. I really do wish we could just like take turns queuing up different songs from our past and not have to worry about royalties or rights or any of that. Like not because I don't want the
I
artist to
know.
get their due, but just I don't know.
Yeah.
I surprised myself. Okay, I'm gonna go first about the things that are stuck in my head. Okay. So since I'm already going.
Yeah, please.
I surprise
Hmm.
myself. I am in awe of my own self.
Okay.
So a lot of times when
Sure.
making dinner, throw on the Sonos speaker, throw on a little Sirius XM radio, and my preference, I have some, it changes. I have like three channels that I go between when it's just me. But last night it was 90s jams, and I was like so impressed with myself at how many song lyrics I still knew from so many different genres. I mean, we went from TLC
Yeah,
to Green Day to Dave Matthews to like we were all over the map, and I was just bleh. I just knew it all. Paula Abdul, she popped in there.
that's good. Yeah,
Hmm. Yep, I'm
straight
impressed.
up.
Straight up now, tell me
That's
that's a Paula Abdul
yeah,
song.
yeah. And have you ever heard Jimmy Fallon impersonate Dave Matthews?
I, I mean
He's
both.
there's a
I
reason why he's incredibly famous. He's because he's talented.
Right. I think I've said this on here before, but it's been years, so I'm going to say it again. I had this idea that I wanted to pitch to Jimmy Fallon. I don't know Jimmy Fallon. Perhaps
Uh-huh.
he listens. I don't know. That I just thought it would be really a really fun bit if like once a month he just had like a regular person. Like they're not anybody. They're just like
Hmm.
me or you or whatever. And like because he's so good at like improv and interviewing and being funny, like just a regular person comes on out and waves to everybody and sits down and they just have like a and I would like to be that person. It's a little bit like this podcast.
That's that's the whole thing.
That's it. That's the whole
Like
thing.
that's that's the whole thing.
Yep, regular person.
I mean, it's got uh-huh.
It could be great
Well, I
or a
mean,
bust, and both are great, in my opinion.
got
It's
me on.
it's when I say stuff like that that I'm like, I think I'm a four. Like there have been a lot of experiences lately that I'm like, I'm a four. I'm an Enneagram four.
Oh, I wouldn't surprise me because
Yeah.
fours think they're super special.
And misunderstood, which is
Yeah, yeah.
and it's very unique and niche. And if it's gonna happen to for everyone, it won't for me. This is where I've been living lately.
Yeah. Um, that
Whatever. Either
that would
one.
track. I mean, if you're going to go on Fallon,
I mean,
because
obviously.
you should go on. Okay, two things stuck in my head. Snakes still stuck in my head. My son and his friend like wrangled a huge snake out of our garage. A snake party over our house, and so I had to buy some Snake Be Gone from Amazon. It smells like cinnamon.
I was gonna
Spritz
say, what is it?
pellets. It's
Snake
like
oil.
snake kryptonite, and you spread it around places where you don't want snakes, and it smells like cinnamon. So
Okay.
I've done that. I just found it fascinating how scary snakes are, even when you really, really know they can't hurt you.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just it's in your body, and it's just like rare, but like they're literally like big worms. They're just
No,
big worms.
well, they're not.
Yeah, they are with scales. They're big worms with scales.
No. Well, so you know what else was big worms? That movie Tremors. And that was so scary. Remember that movie with Kevin Bacon?
Yes, I never saw it because I'm,
because it was the
not
worst.
in that club that sees those movies. But,
I don't even know how I did. I think I was like, I loved Footloose, so I
oh,
watched this, like, because Kevin Bacon's
well,
in
of
it.
course.
So I don't
Kevin
know.
Bacon's in it. Yeah. Yeah. The other thing that's been stuck in my head that's really awesome, I'm excited about is we're taking a trip to Maine in August.
Yeah.
I know, and I've never been to Maine, and a part of me wants to be retired and drive to Maine, but I'm not retired, B, I'm not retired. Um, so we're gonna
Do you,
fly to Boston.
yeah. Do you like to drive?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I hate to fly. And those things work together.
I didn't know you hated to fly.
I hate to fly. And I love the idea of like taking our trailer on the road with the dogs, but Maine is a bit of a haul.
It's a haul. So you're going to go to
Yeah.
Boston and like rent a car?
This is what we're gonna do. We're going to Guster's on the Ocean Music Festival in Portland, Maine. And playing with Guster, they used to be called Mandolin Orange,
Oh
but they're
yeah.
not called that anymore. Watchtower.
So
I think that's what they're called.
what?
Maybe.
So,
Maybe not. I don't know.
watch something. They are so good.
Watch something. So they're going to be there. So Guster, get this, Guster's going to do a symphony set Friday night in this old like concert, like this opera house, right? On the ocean, on the coast. That's Friday night. And Saturday there's like um guided bike rides and kayak excursions and cool stuff, hikes. And then starting in the afternoon, there's bands. The Bar Brothers
Oh my
are
gosh.
going to be there, who I love,
You
who are
love
kind of
them.
new for me. I know. And Guster's going to play every day. They're going to play their album "Ganging Up on the Sun" in its entirety. Then we're going to go up the coast to Acadia National Park, do some hiking and whale watching, etc. Summer in Maine. And when I'm in Boston, going to catch a Red Sox game and go out to Walden Pond too on my way out. So there's
Nice.
just a lot of cool stuff in a week we're going to cram in. So super pumped. Okay, so those are the stuff that's stuck in my head. Okay, the orientation cycle. I can't quit talking about it. I have 2 chapters left to review. Then the book will be in the hands of human beings who then can get people that I know that I trust that can kind of basically read through it and say something like this. I love you, man. You're great. You know that, right? That's what I expect to happen. There will
Oh,
be some of you that I'll hand the book to who just can't bring yourself to say that. And you'll be like, it's amazing, it's great. And I'll be like, hey, write a recommendation. And I'll be like, I'm kind of busy, but okay.
it's
So,
not
and then there'll be some of you that might be like, I don't want to hurt your feelings, so I'll hand it to a real editor. So those are my expectations. I'm keeping them super mid, and then I'll be fine. Because the beautiful thing about creating things, and this is where the Rick Rubin thing is so awesome, and it's true. Like I
yeah.
say this, I'm kind of joking around, but I'm also being incredibly serious, is that like whatever we create, it has great value, and like you got to lean into that. And like it's a paradox because creative people, which is all of us, if you just like go and do it and you're not so scared about what people think, it's
Yeah.
better every time.
Yeah. I know.
You're rolling your eyes.
No, because it's just so true, but it's so hard.
It is hard. It is hard. I had a conversation literally yesterday with a phenomenal artist. Um, that one of the things I said, which I thought was a pretty good thing to say, was I wonder what it would be like if your standard was about being as much you as you could be. Like that's your measure.
Mm.
Just all you, just laying that out, man. Because boy, when you're like all you, like the work you produce is just phenomenal. And instead of what all these other people think.
But that
And
is,
I don't know if that's incredibly practical, but like I really believe that because it's just always the best when we
oh,
do it
I
that way.
fully believe that. It also
Yeah.
assumes that people know themselves. And
Yes.
the
Yes.
older that I'm getting, the more that I'm learning about myself too.
Yeah.
That not
Right.
knowing who you are or whatever, like finding yourself, this isn't like caged in adolescence. Like this is like grown up people don't know who they are.
Oh
They're,
yeah,
you
absolutely.
know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Like there's lots of people just walking around not they don't like you could tell them just be you and they're like, "Great. Who's that?"
What's that mean? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's they're disoriented. Like they don't know, they don't have a trustworthy measurement, right, of kind of where they stand in the world or with people or God or themselves or their past, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah. Yeah. So I can't quit thinking about it. And
But your orientation stuff is
um
super helpful in finding the answers to those questions.
well, it came out time and time again. We did a retreat with GPS therapies where we did a big learning retreat where we had a bunch of classes and things, and it just kept coming out time and time again about the idea, of what to do when you're lost and how to create havens and homecomings through self-care and paying attention to yourself and your process and what to do when you're stuck and you need just to create movement. And I think that some of that sounds super self-helpy, which and it probably is and will be, but there was like a lot of real clinical application to it as well. So, it's been an exciting process, but yeah, the book stuff's about to wrap as far as like my first push. People will get it, they'll make their suggestions, and then we'll publish it. And when we publish it, alongside it, I'll have a journal workbook for anyone to use, and then I'll have a presentation that I do when I go out and talk and things like that. And then it's going to be followed up with a second book, which is more like clinical application, which is already in the works. Because I'm able to take some of those pieces as I'm editing and pull them from book one and move them over to book two.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah, and I don't know. A couple of other things that are cool about about the book that I think you'll enjoy that you might not know is that, well, there's a bunch of branches.
Mm.
So I'm gonna have a book just full of quotes because there's about 100 awesome quotes from it. I'm gonna have a book and online of 50 orienting songs, and every chapter is gonna have a song that's connected to it with a streaming link. And so I'll discuss kind of the reasons why this music is orienting in my life or others' lives. Um, and so that's the breadth of it. So when we get this book done, then all that other stuff's going to happen pretty fast, and it's going to be really fun.
Awesome.
I know,
And you could
right?
have
Yeah,
little online communities of people that are sharing their little orienting songs. That could be so fun.
it would be really really fun as long as I don't have to manage it. I'm good.
I know, I know.
And someone
Yeah,
else can
I don't
kind of
want
do
to
that.
manage it. Yeah, I don't want
Yeah,
to manage.
but I mean, and thinking about just like creativity, like an album that's become important to me this last year, which I never gave two rips about, is Nebraska by Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
And but if you watch the movie that came out
Mhm.
this last year, like that's what that was all about. And like it's an awesome picture, right? Of a person being like, there's all this noise, but like if I was just gonna do my heart, it's this. And people will either hate it or love it.
Yeah.
And he's just an awesome example of that.
Mhm.
So, which gets us to the conversation of the question of the week. Why do I always keep messing up the same stuff?
Yeah.
Like I'm tired of doing that and of living through the pain that it causes. Why do I always do that?
Mm.
Like for me personally, that question has revolved around ADHD
Mm.
and my realization that it's a much, 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 much bigger thing personally and globally than I really ever gave credit for being. And just the sheer cost of my lack of attention in relationships, but like literally financially, or
Mm.
like engaging a project. Like this is 100% true for me. Like we had someone out to look at replacing floors in our home. We have floors that are 5 years old that I did that, they're messed up because I didn't do it right. I didn't take time.
Mm.
I I mean, like I could count my whole life, like just a gazillion of those sorts of things that if I would have really slowed down and paid attention, like it wouldn't cost me as much down the line. And it could be that way, like even in relationships, like maybe I hire someone that doesn't work out. And if I would have just gone slow
Yeah.
and paid attention, it would have been different. So that I get a lot of shame internally when I encounter the same mistakes or the costs of those mistakes. Because when I say it's ADHD, Gabor Mate says this. Everybody should read Gabor Mate. Everyone, everyone, everyone. But he says that most adults that suffer with ADHD have ADHD because of their childhood, and there's not a gene for it, by the way. It's super interesting. But then also they're emotionally immature too.
Mm.
And I just love that he just like lays both those things out there. And so when I think about those things, why do I keep doing it? Like there's been periods of time, literally this year, where I just felt a lot of shame and frustration, you know, that I can't quite get it right, whatever it is. Um, this is not a place where you have to share every deep, dark secret of your life, even though I was thinking about changing the title of our podcast to Alison Shares Deep, Dark Secrets in Her Life. But if you could answer that question, how might you answer that or talk about that a little bit? Like, why do I keep on doing the same old thing, man? Same messing stuff up or whatever it is. Like, why do I keep
Yeah.
on making the same mistake over and over? You know?
Yeah. I think maybe, and not because I don't have unhealthy patterns that I feel stuck in my current life, but in hindsight, I can very easily identify like a long season where those words were out of my mouth a lot. Like, why do I keep doing this?
Yeah,
And
that's right.
the theme at that time was, why do I keep getting into relationships with people that need fixing? Like,
Yeah,
why don't I see that from the outset? Like they literally do not have the capacity to give what it is that I'm hoping they will give me. And
yeah,
I'm either seeing that and blowing right past it, or I get some sort of weird fix from trying to fix them, or it confirms some sort of like Enneagram 4 belief that like I just have like a higher capacity to love than other people. So like I'm just gonna do more. I wrote that in my journal one time. Periodically I have to be in a really good, like strong place. And every once in a while I'll just like pull one of my journals out of the stack and like flip to the page and be like, okay, all right. You know, and like it's usually really encouraging, like, oh God, look how far I've come. But I wrote that one time. I was like, I think maybe I just have like a bigger heart than everyone else. Like, I just like it was
yeah.
to love more. And so, like, that's why so and so doesn't look the same. They weren't made like me. I'm like, what
Uh-huh.
the hell
Right.
is wrong with me? Like,
What the what the hell?
what the hell? And what's really ironic is that am like I am, and I do think of this about myself, and other people have noted this in me. Like I have high discernment. Like I can read people, and like it was actually like a detriment to my family at times, because every boyfriend my sister had, I was like, no, the answer is no, he is a no. And my mom was like,
Right.
why do you do this? And I was right, by the way, all the time. And she was like, how come you can get this
Yeah.
right for
Yeah.
everyone but yourself? And I was like,
Ouch.
gonna have to get back to you on that one. I don't know.
Lindsay bringing heat.
Yeah, well, it was Judy, but yeah. Everyone was bringing the heat because everyone was asking
Oh, oh,
everyone
okay.
was asking
Sorry.
the same question I was asking of myself. Like, why do I keep doing this?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Why do I keep doing this?
Yeah.
And so
I,
I know that feeling. And it feels like shame always shows up in that. Like, what is wrong with me? Something's obviously wrong with me. Like, which is a terrible
uh-huh.
feeling, right? That's a terrible question. The way it makes you feel to ask that about yourself, like
Yes.
it can,
Yes.
I think it
Yeah.
can be a helpful starting point, but I don't know very many people that get too far past what's wrong with me. They just stay at, I don't know, but something's wrong with me. And then you just live there. And that's like a
Well,
terrible place.
it is a terrible place. And actually, I'd say most people don't stay there, but they mask it, right? So they
Right.
can't handle that, what they perceive as a truth about themselves, and which most people can't. And so if that's a truth that is really kind of digging its way into your heart, that maybe you might have come to believe as a younger person when your brain was more vulnerable, that
Mm.
you're like, well, I mean, you're trying to like figure out why certain things happen, why certain people left, or why there's certain amounts of rejection or whatever. We call that a schema. It's a schematic that kind of worms its way into your belief about the way the world works and how your life works. And generally it's some sort, not always, but it's a lot of times it's some sort of negative assessment of oneself that feels terrible and is some sort of like stable reality of their existence. And so then, therefore, they have to come up with coping mechanisms to handle that schema that has built its way into their lives and their emotional network. And most people never change. In
Yeah.
ACT therapy, we were going to talk parts today, but we can lead into it. But like in ACT therapy, there's well, there's a whole like thing you could just Google it or chat it. Like there's a thing about schemas, but in ACT there's 10 that are identified that kind of are like genre specific.
Mhm.
And like for example, an abandonment schema, which is what one that I feel pretty confident that I built as a young kid because I experienced abandonment.
Sure.
And so that little boy, when he's sitting on the steps waiting for dad to show up, experience, fear and loneliness and hopes, disappointment. And so that stuff all kind of works in that brain to kind of go to pop in some unhelpful beliefs that you just kind of lock in. And when they're like really yucky beliefs, like I'm not important or people don't love me or whatever, like these really big existential negative self-talk things, um, our copes to cover that, like the deeper they are, the harder they are, the
Yeah.
copes get kind of more extreme.
Yeah.
And so what's wrong with me almost always has an answer, but
Mm.
the answer is one it doesn't have to be true. It's one that deep down we fear is true.
Right.
And we have to ignore that, shove it, do a thing. I mean, this is true for all funny people. You're funny. I'm funny. We know this.
We know
My
this.
kids don't know this.
They'll figure it out.
Your kids don't know this, actually.
They don't.
They don't.
They do. I think way deep
No, they
down
don't.
they do,
They
but they
don't.
just can't give me the.
No, they don't. I've asked. They do not. They don't think
Oh,
they
you
really
asked
don't
them.
think you're that
Okay.
funny.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, they don't think you're that funny. Our listeners, this is the only reason they listen to us is because there's humor. But
yeah.
do everyone that has that in common, like there's just a little bit of that is set into the world to make you feel better. Like
Mm.
that's why we do it.
Yeah.
Not always, not 100%. But so these copes get more extreme. Um, and so like, why do I keep doing it? Why do I keep messing it up? What's wrong with me? Incredibly valid question. Generally, the answer that we keep deep inside of us is the one we don't want or that we fear
Right.
might be true.
Right.
Right. And so we have to like work our way around it. We have to ignore it. We try to get maybe awesome in other areas,
Yeah.
or maybe we just numb
Right.
it. We just like
Yeah.
get addicted to something. Um, there is, it's just kind of a backdoor way to talk about IFS or parts work,
Hmm.
though. And I didn't title it that. but this is the way that I love to approach it. And I'm a little curious, and you need to tell the truth, okay? All right. I'm gonna ask you a
Okay.
question, and I need to be honest to our listeners. Did you read any of the IFS stuff that I sent you?
I read it all. I read
I knew
every
you did. That's why I asked it like that.
I
Set
read
you up for
every
success.
but yes, I
So
read
we
it
did a
all.
podcast a couple of seasons ago with a guy named Chase Counts, who is
Yep.
he's a bit of a parts work savant, I would say. And we talked about it, but I wanted to talk about this as an approach, as a maybe a philosophy
Mm,
to for people listening to kind of like consider and think about how to deal with this question. Why do I keep on effing it up
yeah.
in this specific area? Why do I like why do I always have trouble with paying my bills and or being on time or ADHD might answer some of that, but there's more of a global answer that can be super helpful. And so
For my
I'm
biblical listeners out there, why do I do what I don't want to do? And why do I not do what I do want to do? It's
yes,
very Paul, very, I mean, it's as old
yes,
as it's a very human question. It's in the Bible.
it is. And if we want to have a if we want to do a New Testament podcast right now, like there's a lot of gospel stuff that Jesus presents and that we see in Paul's letters that tend to make sense. If we want to kind of like apply that to kind of the mental and emotional and relational space and speak in that language, like it's actually super consistent. But the one thing that whenever you see that people are acting in ways that are what we might call spiritually mature or, like life's going better, you're in a better zone. It's almost always about awareness and understanding self, others, what's happening. You're not being spun up in it. You're kind of looking at it. When we were growing up and going to camp, they're like, okay, go sit and pray and or listen and like get quiet and reflect. And people that have these kinds of habits in their lives like tend to create the room to look back at their lives in ways that potentially can help create meaning and help, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you look that stuff over,
Yes.
were you just like, this is a lot? Did anything stand out to you? Did you think to yourself, oh, here's something I'll ask about or say or think when it came to the internal family systems thing? Because we haven't even
Yeah.
said what it is yet. So,
Well, I don't know if you want to do that first, but there was
okay,
there was something in there that I was like, oh, I like this. Like I'm not broken, I'm complex. Is that something like that? Like, because there is this
mhm,
feeling of like
yeah,
parts, like that word parts makes a lot of sense because it's how it feels. It feels like you're, yeah, that's not you being broken, that's your system having parts. Like you're not broken, you're just complex. And almost nothing. I was just talking to somebody the other day about kind of a season that I'm in personally, believing like most things don't have a linear, like one linear path to the answer or solution or whatever. That like because we're not one part. And so reading it, I was like, yeah, that makes all the sense. I don't understand kind of necessarily what's behind it all, but feeling like there are, or that there's like things inside of you that are contradicting each other. Like you're like,
correct.
it's me. How can me contradict me? Like, what's going on here? That I resonated with
Yeah,
a lot. And like, what do you do? Right? Like, I think a lot of people are like, yeah, I
yeah,
understand that feeling, but like, so what?
yeah. I mean, and I want to. I don't know if I need to apologize. I need to give a disclaimer. I mean, like this is one of the gazillion times that I'll talk with authority about something that I'm actually not the authority about. Like there are people, therapists in my own building that will be able to speak to this in more unique ways than I can. But it has been very powerful, and I wanted to give a take on it. And I think it's incredibly practical. So like you bring up this idea, Allison, of like, well, yeah, what if it's not me? What if it's parts of me? And so the brief description of what we would call internal family systems, which is a phrase coined by Schwartz. Can't even remember Schwartz's first name.
Right.
Anyway, he wrote a book called No Bad Parts. And literally the idea psychologically kind of came from when people would say, well, a part of me thinks this, but another part of me says this.
Yeah.
And there was a time where someone thought, they said, maybe there's something to that.
Mhm.
And we're not talking about multiple personalities, like in a disassociative sense, like
Right.
when I've gone through trauma and another kind of a part of me like becomes my sense of reality. It's not what this is. It's also not the same thing as what is portrayed in Inside Out, the movies,
Yeah.
although the movies do get the ball rolling down the idea of, wait, there's like maybe entities, or like in the movie, it's about emotions that they kind of have their own personalities and stuff. But what we believe in parts work and in IFS is that there's like these categories of parts. There's like protectors, firefighters, they call them, and there's exiles, parts that are
Yeah.
vulnerable, right? And there's managers, there's ones that got to control things. Um, and when we lay that out, sometimes people are able to identify these different parts of them. And some people that really give energy to it, and I get it. It's a psychological construct, right? It's not really any different than what Freud did with superego, ego, id. Like it's a way to not just categorize, but it's a bit of a ladder to kind of build what's going on inside of your brain relationally, your relationship with yourself. The reason why that really matters is basically what you said, Allison. It's just like if I am bad or if I F it up, sometimes, and I just kind of keep doing it over and over again, like there's just nowhere to go. Even if I have like spiritually, like had some sort of conversion experience and felt this great shame and laid all these things at God's feet, and yet here I go again, just doing the same old stuff. And sometimes that stuff's not explained by physical addiction.
Right.
It's a mental thing. And so what happens in parts is that we kind of like say, well, who are like parts inside of you that really kind of rise up and act out or communicate, or you kind of see their personality take over, especially when things get stressful or hard.
Mhm.
And they might express different values on the inside of you. Like if you had a big conference table and you had five different kind of like personalities inside of you that kind of hang out, and then they all have a thing that's real important to them. Some people have parts of them that are just super pleasure seeking. Some people have parts of them that are super anxious or fearful in nature. Some people have parts of them that, yeah, that are really codependent. But when we start to look at it that way, like the question of like, well, who's driving the bus? If these
Mhm.
different parts all have a seat, like, are there times when they drive the bus? And then the key question is, well, there's two key questions. One is that like, huh, well, if that's not all of me that operates in a super codependent way or is a high risk taker and, or addicted, that's not all of me. And it's
Right.
just a part of me. Is there anything else to me?
Mm.
And where does my value lie? So that's one question. The other question that I find ridiculously helpful is, what is the motive of the part that is acting out and taking control right now, that's driving the bus?
Mhm.
And I have
What's
yet to
it
find
trying to do? What's it trying to? It
what
thinks
are
it's
they
helpful.
after?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
What are they after? And it's paradoxical and awesome and interesting. Like if you have a part of you that acts in self-destructive ways, if we just slow down a little bit and we're like, hey, that part of you that, you know, goes out and gets on a bender like over the weekend, like, you're using or you're drinking really hard or whatever. And what is it they're after? Like, what do they want? Or, hey, that part of you that is super aggressive. I a long time ago had a relationship with a guy that he felt like his life was really coming together because he still couldn't quit road raging. It was very specific. He's like, I'm doing great until someone cuts me off. And then I'm like, I lose it. And my relationships, I think I talk about this in the book, actually. Yeah, my relationships suffer because like my family's just like, who are you?
Right.
And I just can't not road rage. I'm like, what? Okay, let's just say that was a part of you. Because literally, like we could probably pull that off because it's like, are you in road rage 24/7? Well, no. Okay. I mean, I might feel kind of angry a lot. Yeah, okay, but is that the same thing? So, hey, question. So, road rage guy, but what's he want? I mean, like, what's his motivation
Mm.
when he takes over? Give me some other examples, Allison, when you think about people that you work with, or even in your life or my life or whatever. Like, are there other parts that rise up? Like, there's like road rage or codependent, or what
Yeah, or
can you
like
think of others?
I can remember I can remember being in an unhealthy relationship with someone that I felt like didn't give me a lot of emotions, and so I it wasn't like a choice, but looking back,
Yeah,
it was a choice, but I didn't know it was a choice. I would start fights.
right.
I would start fights with them. I would say the thing
Yeah,
I knew was gonna just blah, because I know now, I wanted anything I could get. I would take anger over nothing. Like I was like, just
that's
give
right.
me some of your emotions. And so I would like poke the bear and I would do it. And it would be like and that would be an instance where I'd be like, why do I do that? Like now I'm like sad
Thank
and
you.
wondering
Yeah,
like I'm wondering if we're gonna break
yeah,
up and like, but I did this. Like I started that
yeah,
fight. I was like, you're a, whatever, and said the thing I knew would like, ugh. And
yeah.
yeah, that,
But then after that, you're saying those things to yourself because you're mad at yourself
yeah.
for doing the thing or disappointed, or maybe you want to ignore it. But the question rarely gets asked. And that's why this part stuff is super interesting. Could you talk to that person inside of you
Mm. Ahead of
and
time.
ask them,
Yeah.
yeah,
Or in
anytime.
real time or whatever.
Yeah. Ask them, hey, that time that you were poking the bear and acting like this person that you're not, by the way, to get something from this person. But well, wait, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. What did that
Why was
part
I starting
want?
that fight? Yeah.
What did they want? And I mean, I don't know. If you don't play ball, answer me the question. What do you think? What did that part of you want in those when you were a kid and you're doing that stuff?
Just wanted to be noticed. I wanted someone to engage with me. I wanted it.
Yeah,
And I was going to
that's
take
right.
an unhealthy version of the engagement over no engagement at all.
A to the men. Yeah, yeah. One of the beautiful things about looking at our personalities and our histories and our insides as having parts, like literally kind of like versions of us,
Mm.
is that the motives are almost always about genuine human need or protection.
Yeah.
With road rage guy, it was like, I guess I want fairness.
Uh,
Oh, huh. It's not fair that
yeah.
people take advantage of other people that way. And I cannot stand it. Now, here's the other kicker about doing like IFS and parts work and stuff like that is that these categorized like parts that are kind of like they're firefighters, meaning like you know, they respond to emergencies, or they're managers, or they're exiles. They're super vulnerable. They're victims.
Hmm.
Like when we kind of start to suss that out, be like, hey, who lives in there? Who's on the bus? Who's at the table? And but what if we said, hey, are there versions of you that are kind of like frozen in time from your past?
Mm.
Like, you've heard the phrase inner child a lot. I mean, that's a whole genre of therapy. Is there a little kid version of you or a young adult version of you or a version of you, especially when you were like vulnerable, when your brain was developing and you were trying to figure out who to trust? When something went south, or maybe there was a period of time when there was a chronic stressor, like you just like getting punched in the shoulder every day for 10 years, like I can't really use my arm. So maybe you didn't have a trauma, but you maybe have chronic stressors.
Mhm.
Is there a version of you that is actually sitting at the table? And when people start to identify that, like it kind of starts to unlock a lot of awesome stuff. And it's not just about insight. Like people assume that going to therapy and doing counseling is like, oh, well, they want me just to kind of like unload all my stuff. So I'll know things about my past. I'm like, no, that's a means to an end.
Right.
Like clarity and having an aha sets you up to do the next thing to heal and grow. And so if we're going to say, I know I'm like doing all the talking here. I'm sorry.
You're the expert.
Like,
Literally know nothing.
I've been told that, but if we're going to say, why do I do this thing? And then we slow down enough to say, and I know it sounds a little crazy. It sounds a little weird. And maybe it sounds to some people like you're not taking responsibility. But like this is taking responsibility. This is you digging in and going, huh, what part of me, is there a version of me that tends to act like to shut it down whenever responsibility is called on, or like is like not good at keeping commitments? Like, who is that? Is that like a 13-year-old version of me? Does that look like the kid that was again sitting on the steps that was lonely and he just wanted connection? And
Mm.
and and okay, well, if you can identify that, great. If you can't, it's fine. It's fine. But can we accept a couple of things? One, that it's like it's not all you. Like
Right.
again, you don't do that 24/7. There's other parts of you. You're like on the one hand this and the other hand that. Like, okay, cool. It's not all you. Two, if it's a part of you, and you can identify it at some level, like you can like picture him or her.
Mhm.
What do they want? What are they really after? Did they really want, you know, that behavior or that pain? They want it to go south. They want to hurt people.
Right.
Even when we want people, usually there's something underneath that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the answer is almost always kind of a benevolent answer. Well, I just wanted to be noticed, or I wanted them to not leave me, or I wanted to accomplish that thing.
But then, which is huge. I mean, huge and
It
important.
is.
And then what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, then what do you do with that information?
Yeah.
Like, how does
Yeah. That's a great,
just knowing that maybe helps me take a beat the next time I feel like I'm about to poke the bear for no reason, which is we now know is not
mhm.
for no reason. And
Yeah.
maybe I pick a different approach and say, hey, I feel a little ignored by you. Could you show me some
Yeah.
emotions? And
No, that's 100%. And you know how to do that now. You didn't then.
oh no, no. And I don't know that I would have. I mean, that is so
Right.
vulnerable. Oh my gosh. Like it's so much safer to fight with somebody than it is to be like, hey, I just feel super like invisible to you. Could you just like notice me, please?
Yeah.
Like, could you think of anything more vulnerable to say to somebody?
Yeah.
'Cause what if they're like, I don't want to, which is your deepest fear? Yours, by yours, I mean mine.
Yeah.
And then you're giving them the opportunity to confirm the thing that you worry about the most. So,
Yeah. I mean, it's incredibly vulnerable.
so,
Say more.
so I mean, So what are we what are you working towards in this kind of work?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the question we started with about 30 minutes ago is like, why do I always like do these bad things, make these mistakes? Why do I always keep effing it up? Like this kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And this is a way of looking at yourself and the relationships around you that is fundamentally different. Like it creates a stop and a pause and a reevaluate.
Mhm.
And what we tend to do with people in coaching and or therapy when it comes to this is like a reflective exercise. Like if we were doing something, you and I right now, I'd be like, okay, we're going to stop and we're just going to like, maybe we're going to write a note to that part.
Uh,
And it's going to sound super therapy like, right? And weird to some people. Now, here's a fun one. Have the part write a note back to you.
hmm,
What do they want? What are they after? What caused their pain? This disruption in your spin cycle, because by the way, the part of our brain like that's operating system is always on.
hmm,
Like, and unless you learn something, meaning that you reflected on your experience and you did something different, like you're just going to keep on doing the same little shit.
yeah.
And so when you have a reflective exercise with a friend or with a guide or with someone that's been doing this a while, a mental health therapist that has letters and things, like it disrupts your cycle and you can't help but think differently about it when those sorts of situations and potentials come up.
Mm.
Now, if you just listen to this podcast once and you're like, man, that's an interesting idea, or it's kind of okay, that probably will not keep you from doing the thing again, like by listening to me say things. However, a relationship with someone where you're practicing something that throws a wrench in the spin cycle of your gears, especially if it's experiential. Oh, we're going to write a thing and then we're going to talk about it. Or I'm literally going to practice a thing with someone that I trust. And like this, and the part thing it just sounds so nebulous and kind of out there.
Mm.
But I'm not kidding. I have people in my life that have bought into this kind of hardcore, like not like a cult or weird religion, because I guess it could be that. I mean, but like that will say, when I get spun up, I will stop and I will slow down, or maybe I'm driving and I'll ask that part of me, what was it that you're wanting? And why do you want to drive the bus?
Mm.
Because maybe I should like I have a super anxious part. Well, there's probably times when that guy ought to be in charge.
Yeah.
But slowing down reflection, like and being purposeful about that like changes everything. Because that super anxious guy, like he's not me, he's just a part of me. He's an
Right.
expression of me.
So the goal is
And
not
and
to
so what people
so the goal is not to like remove our parts
know,
or shut them up or tamp them down. It's to
no, no,
understand them and help them understand their part to play and
yeah.
it's their turn to play it.
I we're back to the orientation cycle. Everything's in relationship. And if you will apply these principles to yourself
Yeah.
and slow down, I would recommend doing it with a therapist. But you can do this to where you're like, hey, I see you. You're rising up in me wanting to be too funny. Whatever, you're whatever it is, whatever way you're coping, you're gonna be fine, dude. Like also, I'm not frozen in time. You are. You don't know the end of the story. You're stuck whenever that trauma happened. But let me help you understand, like there's a time and a place. Like I actually want to work with you. This
Mm.
moment, probably not the best one. So, and it's in a sense, our parts can sometimes be like the ants on the Geico commercial. Like they're like these helicopter moms, they're hovering. Like, oh, I need to take charge, like those parts that are managers, they're just like they're always bumping up to the front to try to control stuff. But whenever we recognize them and we make friends with them, again, sounds weird. Make friends with them. We're like, thank you for being on my side. thank you, God, for creating a complex personality inside of me where there's nuance. And I don't have to feel the burden of my entire identity is based on the fact that I have, some expressions that aren't necessarily always helpful, maybe sinful.
Mm.
Like that's not all of me.
Right.
And when we can talk to ourselves that way and actually do activities that way, like it gets super powerful whenever you're being creative enough using the front of your brain to go, if my part that is super codependent could talk back to me, he would say this. And this is
Yeah.
how old my part is. Like that might sound super hippy dippy, but one thing it's not is like in a spin cycle of trauma and fear and response and protection.
Yeah.
It's creative. And so when you start doing that, your brain starts popping in different ways.
Mm.
And so the to-do list is really about to breathe and slow down. And if you want to get with someone or even on your own to kind of start recognizing those parts, like talk to them, write a note, recognize. And so, like I said earlier, like I got people now, they'll be driving and they'll say, yeah, I just wanted to ask that part, like what they wanted. And the answer was insightful. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. You want to be noticed. Well, this is probably the best way to go about that. And then they just change what they do.
Mm.
They just change it. And so if I was going to give recommendations, the book No Bad Parts, by Schwartz, huh. And IFS, Internal Family Systems. Also, we talked a little bit about some things from acceptance commitment therapy regarding schemas,
Yes.
helpful idea.
And
Because one thing we tend to do, what now?
well, as it turns out, Alanis Morissette was onto something in her music video for Isn't It Ironic? Do you remember this music video? She is driving the car.
No.
She is driving the car,
Yeah.
and there are three other parts of her, versions
Of
of her
her.
in the car. And they're saying different things and they're reacting different ways and they're dressed different ways and so she was a genius in 1996 when Jagged Little Pill came out, and she's a genius today.
Did you know Jagged Little Pill is still like the 18th highest selling album of any artist of ever anyone?
I believe it. And they turned it into a Broadway
It's
play.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
I mean,
You
this
ought to
you
know.
want to know. And you want to know something about that? This is the kind of
I
wisdom I
do.
bring into this podcast.
Bring
You've got
it.
letters after your name. I've got this. That was her breakup album from Dave Coulier. Uncle Joey.
Oh, the guy on Full House.
Uh-huh. Cut it out. That guy. I was like, what? Like, Uncle Joey did not do this. He did. He
Oh, he did.
shattered her, and she wrote the
Mhm.
best album of all time. A breakup album of all time.
You know who her drummer was?
Nope.
Taylor Hawkins, the guy who played for the Foo Fighters and then
Are you
died.
serious?
Yeah, that's where they found him.
I did
They
not
were,
know it.
yeah, yeah, that's a great ending.
It's time anyway. And last week you didn't say the blessing. The blessing.
The, the blessing is, hey, you guys, remember, you're not more important than anyone else in the world. You know this. We're not more important than anyone else in the world, but we are as important as everyone else in the world. And so take care of each other and take care of yourselves. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
That's right, Sister Allison.
Sister Alison.
Okay,
Go find
you guys, that's right. Thank you for listening, everyone. And we are here to help. And I hope that you enjoyed our time. Please send this out to your friends so they will listen. And we're going to be here every week. Remember your friends at GPS Therapies. If you need help, if anyone you know is hurting, 988 suicide crisis line is a thing. Call a professional. Heck, get a hold of us if you can't find anyone that you need. We'll try to help you with that. Okay. I will see you in a week, Allison.
Yes, you will.